Greetings. We're live. We're back. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope you had an amazing weekend. This week starts. Oh, what happened? So I want that to be a video. We good? All right. Well, you got to see me take a picture of myself. I hope I look befuddled. Let's see if I look befuddled. I look a little befuddled. Rock on. Okay. I'm gonna do it again. Nope, I'm not. Great start to the video. Okay. Here's what we need to know. Last week I thought went really well. I thought it was great to hear from as many of you as I did. Um, I realize distance learning is going to be a lot of work, not necessarily as much for you as it is for me. I really want to make sure that I give you the best feedback possible for the amazing ideas that you give me, and that takes a lot of time. When we're talking face to face, for me to be able to say, "Oh my goodness, you did an amazing job on this assignment. This thought was amazing. This work, this answer was really thoughtful." That was quick. That took what, 8 seconds? Typing that can take like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just to be able to make sure I give you the best thoughtful responses. And I'm going to continue to do so, but it takes more time. So that's an interesting thing I've learned about distance learning. Um, Another reminder, please get out of. Guess who would like to come by and say hi? I meant, and I mean, every word I've ever said about this cat. Okay. Reminders. Question of the day. Please do the question of the day. I understand that your demand on times can be difficult. Like, I don't expect you necessarily to have a solid block of time every day to be able to go online and do your work. But please make sure that you are at least doing the question of the days every day. That is going to be how I take attendance. That's really important for me and for you to make sure that you're getting credit for doing your distance learning. Okay, today is the first day of real life curriculum. Last week was just what can you do at home? What can I do from here? Today we're going to go back to actually trying to teach you things. And we're going to do it by going to the continent of Asia. I think this is going to be a fantastic unit. We are going to be able to expand our religions discussion. We're going to be talking about Buddhism. We're going to be talking about Hinduism, shamanism. We're going to be looking at philosophy. We're going to be looking at Taoism. We're going to be looking at Confucianism. And we're going to be looking at just moral systems in general. What is okay and what is not okay? Who gets to decide that? How do people decide that? Why do people decide what is right and what is wrong? I don't know. We're going to talk about it though, and it's going to be pretty awesome. We're going to be looking at the importance of water and how having access to water is not just important for you and me as human beings that need to live day to day, but for the wealth of a country. But first, when we're looking at Asia, we're going to be discussing population. Let's start our notes. I want to make you. There it is. I did it. Perfect me. Okay. It is the 13th of April. It is the year 2020. Welcome to Asia. How do you do? What would happen if I move that down so I can see myself and talk? Is that better? Is it worse? I don't know. We will find out. One of the things I thought was interesting just by doing these notes is that we are only 2 days behind where I did these notes the last time I did it. So in 2017, I did these notes on 4-11. So far, we're right on track. Rock on. Okay, let's do our notes. Human population. The world population right now, I gotta get out of my way. Get out of my way, me. World population right now is about 7.7 billion. Most of the world's population lives in Asia. Over half of the world lives in Asia. This is a really cool site. So this is the World Population Clock. And what this does is this website, this business takes as many reliable government reports regarding birth, and it uses it to calculate what the population of the planet is. Now, granted, okay, this may not be the most accurate thing in the world at this very moment in time, but with all the information that is available, this is the most accurate information I can give you. And what we found out is that today, 26,000 people were born. We've had 39 million people born this year. It's a lot of folks. I also just realized that my camera is stuck just on that face. I'm going to do something real quick. Let's just try this to see if it works. Does it work? I think it's still alive. Huh. I don't know why that paused. That was also weird. Okay. So, important things we need to know. The world's population is increasing. Hi, buddy. You gonna say hi real quick?
Hi.
Okay, come by and say hi real quick, but then you gotta get going so I can film this.
Hi.
Hi. Say hi to my kids. That's you saying hi to my kids. I'm teaching my kids right now.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Come, Daddy.
How come?
Yeah.
That's my job. That's what I have to do. All right. Hey, I love you. Good night. You got to skedaddle.
You got skedaddle. You got skedaddle.
You do have to skedaddle, buddy. Good night.
You do.
Okay. What do we got? 7.7 population. There we go. Other thing I wanted to show you on this source. We scroll down, and we're going to go through a bunch of stuff. But this is a really cool map just to look at. What you're looking at when you see this is you're looking at population density, meaning how many people are there per square kilometer. And the darker an area is, that means the more people live in a closer condensed area. Looking at Asia, pretty dark. I mean, the United States has got it. There's some parts in South America and Europe. But Asia, I would say, jumps out at me as one of the darkest areas on the map, which means it's the most people in a close proximity. All right. You know my love of maps. I just got done showing you one. This is one of those weird maps where what they did is they actually shrunk a country based on or grew a country based on its population. You'll notice Asia's pretty big. As Motomoto says, they big, they chunky. Another one with the same one, and it looks a little bit blocky, but I love this map. This is the world population, 2018. Every one of these squares, itty bitty squares, every one of those squares is 500,000 people. That's a lot of folks, and if we look at it, okay, we're like, okay, we see some countries, we see some countries, we see some countries, we see some countries. Asia! It's big. There's a lot of people in Asia. I was going to scroll down and ask you if you knew, but top 3 countries by population, what do you think? China, India. The United States is always one that surprises people, but we're the 3rd largest country in the world according to population. So how do you measure population? You need to determine how many people are born and how many people are dying. This is called the birth rate, the number of births per 1,000 people per year, and the death rate, the number of deaths per 1,000 people per year. Now, if we look at this, you do not want to be number 1 on... Oh, this is our birth rate. Okay. I was thinking I clicked on the death rate. This simply tells you that these countries are going to be the countries where they have the highest birth rate. In Angola, for example, there is for every 1,000 people, there's 44 newborns every year. That's a lot of kids. Just out of curiosity, where's the United States? We are 158 in the world with 12.5 newborns for every 1,000 people. One interesting thing most people wouldn't have thought of, China. Right here, which is a huge country with a huge population, actually has a slightly less birth rate than us, which is due to the fact that they just have such a large population that when you have that many people, even if they don't have a lot of kids, having that many people have a child or 2 children makes a big difference for the population. This is the one I was saying you don't necessarily want to be number 1 on. This is death rate. And so this is saying what countries have the highest amount of deaths per 1,000 people. There can be many different reasons for this. Some of it can be due to conflict, to war, to sickness, to plague, to lack of access to health care. You don't want to be here. So, oh, yoink. So where's the United States on this list? Nope. There we go. 85. So we're not the best. These would be the countries that have the lowest death rate. We're not the worst. So, woo, go us. All right. So we understand birth rates. We understand death rates. Here's an interesting item. Asia, Africa, and South America have very high birth rates. North America and Europe don't. They do not. We do not. Why? I'm pausing now so you can think of answers. I'm going to give you answers, but I'm pausing just to see what you come up with in your head. Let's examine why. I'm also going to, again, camera-wise, let's get rid of Max over there real quick. There we go. And we're back. So, many different reasons for why some countries have higher birth rates and other countries do not. one of the most important things is simply access to contraceptives, having better health care, the cost of childcare, and there's so many more. I can't go into great deal about this, but I found these main reasons, and I want to show you a few points for each one. This website's looking at birth control around the world and the different ways that people are using, the different methods countries are using. And if we go to yoinkity doinkity, doinkity yoinkity, if you're curious about this information was taken from 2015. That's the most recent information they were able to find. All right. And okay, we're almost to where I want to show you. This is what I wanted to show you. This right here tells you the fact that Africa as a continent does not have a lot of access to birth control. Asia as a continent has more access than Africa, but not as much as North America. Now, South America does have a lot of access there. There's other reasons for why they may have high birth rates. But I'm going to argue that one of the reasons that Asia and Africa have such high population rates simply has to do with not being able to have contraceptives. Birth control, ways to prevent pregnancy when sex is taking place. Better healthcare is a huge issue. If you don't have a lot of confidence in the healthcare system, and you don't necessarily know if your child is going to make it from infant to adult, you're going to have more children just so those children, at least some of your children, will live to being an adult. What I've found, based on information from 2019, is that with access to healthcare, people can be more confident that their children are going to survive. And if you're more confident that your children are going to survive, you don't need as many children because you're going to have children that make it to being an adult. So access to healthcare makes people more confident that their child will survive to being an adult, which means you don't need to, let's see, how do I say this? Pad the basket. You don't need to have more children to gamble on the fact that some will make it. I hope that makes sense. This would be a point where I'd ask, does that make sense? But I can't do that now. Hopefully it makes sense. This one's interesting. Kids are expensive. This website from 2019, so within the last year, says that if you were in the United States about to have a child, how much do you think it would cost to take that child from infancy to 18 when you can legally kick them out of your house? Maxwell and Madeline aren't around to hear that anymore, but that's when I would have looked at them and said, bye-bye. And here's what we found. The cost is around $233,000 for your kid to go from infant to 18, which is a ton of money. And if you've got 2 kids, double that. You got 3 kids. I mean, it's a lot of money that you need to spend for that. There's so many more factors that go into whether or not a country's going to have a high birth rate or not. I found something on the BBC, which is just trying to list them. And if you were curious about this, I'm going to scroll down. You can always pause it. But these are different reasons people would have. Okay, so here we go. This is the question. This is what I've been trying to tell you in all of today's notes. We got a lot of people on the planet. A lot of those people live in Asia. The way people determine population is by looking at birth rate versus the death rate, which leads us to the question I want to leave you with. The question we're going to explore in a little bit more detail the rest of the week. And that question is this. Are there more people on this planet than the planet can sustain? Is overpopulation real? Come back. There I am. Is overpopulation real? Is this something we need to be worried about? Is this something you need to be worried about? I'm not going to give you the answer now. I don't necessarily even know if I know the answer, but I've got many different resources that I want to share with you that are going to help you draw your own conclusion with that. Hey, we just got done with our first day of actual curriculum notes. I hope it went well, pauses and all. I'm not planning on going back and editing these, and I don't know how many takes I'm going to do to make sure I get the perfect run. I do pause when I get done with the videos. I do review them just to make sure there's not this huge screw ups in them. But if there's no screw up, you get everything. Huzzah! Bye.